It is Monday, March the 13th, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today afternoon update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, Minister of Finance Chris Sinclair this morning warned that any significant slash in subsidies and statutory transfers will dislocate the most vulnerable in the country. Leading off debate on the 2017 estimates of revenue and expenditure, as he brought down the substantial annual spending on the various quasi-entities, Sinclair challenged the opposition to say which subsidies and transfers it would cut, considering that the bulk of this funding goes to the Transport Board and the Welfare Department.
When you talk about slashing subsidies and transfers, the first category that you're going to have to look at slashing is the Transport Board. Because it is the pensioners, the school children, and the ordinary workers in Barbados who have to get to work at 5 o'clock in the morning to go at the hotel down the West Coast or down the South Coast, or wherever the case may be. Those are the people who benefit from that subsidy and transfer. Category number one. Category number two is grants to individuals. You know who constitutes grants to the individuals? We put it in this estimate at $22 million. You know who's the bulk of the people who get grants to individuals under this heading? These are the subsidies that go to the Welfare Department to help the vulnerable, and the poor, and the indigent, and those in poverty. It's the ordinary Barbadians. Some of it goes towards private schools, for bursaries for children who have not made it into the public school system through the Ministry of Education. But again, in this category is the average ordinary Barbadian. So when you hear people say slash subsidies and transfers, eliminate it, reduce it, this is who you are reducing.
The Friendly Stewart administration is divided over the impact and credibility of last Saturday's massive march of disgust over its handling of the economy. While leading off debate on the estimates, Sinclair said he did not care anything about the march and dismissed its worthiness. However, a few hours earlier, his cabinet colleague Donville Ennis told reporters on the sidelines of the launch of the Global Value Chain Analysis Workshop at the Accra Beach Hotel that as a minister of government, he would be a foolish man to dismiss the message of concern that is reflected in the enormity and energy of those who took to the streets.
I think anytime you have a sizable portion of the population taking to the streets, albeit in a very civilized manner, that they are sending a message and the government must take note. I certainly, as a minister and an MP, have taken very copious note of the message being sent. Not necessarily by the Barbados Party alone. There may be other individuals who may not be aligned to the Barbados Party who have a sense of annoyance with the government. I would be a fool to sit here and believe that all is well. And I think the march has sent a strong message, and I intend to take note of it.
An opposition MP for St. James Central, Kerry Simmons, has called on Prime Minister Friendly Stewart to investigate the alleged misuse of some of the $10 million in computers and other educational materials recently donated to the local schools by China. Addressing last evening's March of Disgust rally at Jubilee Gardens, the city, Simmons claimed that the computers were being taken by persons involved in political activities.
Go to the Ministry of Education Monday morning. Have a word with your Minister of Education. Have a word with your Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education. Find out whether all is well with the $10 million in computer equipment that China just gave to this country. For the short, it hurts me no end that I could hear today, when word reached me, that of that $10 million, some is already in the hands of people who have a different interest than the interest of the schools in Barbados. That equipment was given to us as a country by the People's Republic of China. state-to-state cooperation. It was never intended to be part of any partisan political largesse. Funders should speak to your people and find out the truth of these matters.
A former government minister in the late Tom Adams's cabinet is suggesting that the Frandil Stewart administration has no option but to seek financing from the International Monetary Fund. Aaron Truss, a minister of tourism, told yesterday's opposition Barbados Labour Party St. Thomas branch meeting at Sharon Primary School to mark the 32nd anniversary of Adams' death that he cannot understand why the government does not go to the IMF for help.
We can't buy a fridge or a stove and pay for it in Barbados dollars. So we have to earn the foreign exchange. And enough to earn it in Canadian dollars or British pounds or euros or the American dollar. But we have to pay for these goods and services out of our earned foreign exchange. Our bill for oil alone every year is about $1 billion Barbados. Our bill for food and the goods and services that we require, not only for Barbados, but for the tourist industries, in excess of $1 billion. So we have a $5 billion budget, and 25% of that is already taken up in two areas. Total imports of food and wines and beverages and so on. And the other one is petroleum. So we are catching our tail at the moment. And I'm not being critical of any government. I'm simply calling it the way it is. Right now we've run out of options as a country. And for the love of me, I don't know why it is that the government would not accept the responsibility of going to the IMF.
3 Christchurch men are nursing injuries following yet another shooting incident. The latest victims are 32-year-old Randy Went of Silver Hill, who was shot in his ribs and forearm, 38-year-old Adrian Cox of Maxwell Hill. He sustained a gunshot to his right foot, while 21-year-old Devon Rowe of Silver Hill received a laceration to his right hand. Police said the incident occurred at around 10:50 last night at Block 3D Silver Hill, where the 3 men were liming. They said loud explosions were heard, and as the 3 men ran away, they realized they were injured. Rowe was treated at a private hospital and discharged, while Went and Cox, who were taken to the QEH, are listed as stable.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Get your paper, get your paper. Only $2.25, $2.20. Who? For what? That's Bear Stare News. I don't read about that from Barbados today since last night. That can't only can't do. $2.20. Who?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We're back with news from the region now. Former Tobago House of Assembly Chief Secretary Orville London has been announced as the new High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. The announcement was made last night in Tobago by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley as he spoke during a tribute function held by the People's National Movement Tobago Council. Elizabeth Williams reports.
It's an announcement that was met with surprise and loud cheers. 71-year-old former THA Chief Secretary Orville London, the face of the THA for the past 16 years, has now captured another prominent position, this time in London.
That skill, that diplomacy, that dedication, that even-handedness, that vision that Orville London brought to leadership in Tobago will bring to the people of Trinidad and Tobago the leadership at our High Commission in London.
Dr. Rowley said the process started several months ago when he asked Her Majesty to consider the nomination for the post of High Commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago to the UK.
I'm in a position to announce tonight that the British government has accepted and has given agreement for former Chief Secretary of London to be accepted in London as our High Commissioner.
And on the international scene, First Minister Nicola Sturgeon says she will seek approval next week for a second referendum on Scottish independence. She said a new vote should be held between autumn 2018 and spring 2019. She has called for Scotland to be allowed to strike a special deal to stay in the European single market.
I will seek the authority of the Scottish Parliament to agree with the UK Government the details of a Section 30 order, the procedure that will enable the Scottish Parliament to legislate for an independence referendum. The UK Government was clear in 2014 that an independence referendum should, in their words, be made in Scotland by the people of Scotland. That is a principle that should be respected today. The detailed arrangements for a referendum, including its timing, must be for the Scottish Parliament to decide. However, in my view, it is important that Scotland is able to exercise the right to choose our own future at a time when the options are clearer than they are now, but before it is too late to decide our own path.
And that's news and the sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, our screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic afternoon.